Oi, oi. How's it going, everyone? Hope we are all doing well, happy and smiling. No beer today, just on the coffee. Oh, there he is.
How you doing, mate? You all right?
Not too bad, mate. You?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Sorry about my location. I'm just in garage. Rest of the house has been occupied by things, so
Hey, wherever I've got you is a good place.
it's nice to see you, mate. Nice to see you.
You as well. How are you keeping?
Yeah, really well, thank you. Really, really well. How are you?
Yeah, good, good. Still smiling. So,
That's the main thing, isn't it? As
well,
long, as long as it's not a masked smile, then we're all right.
well, we're all good. We're all good.
Good, good.
So, we have quite a few people in the room already, so which is pretty good.
Yeah,
I don't know if you want to give a little bit about yourself and tell everyone what you do and what
yeah,
it is
certainly.
that.
Oh, you put me on the spot now, mate. I do this every single day, and it's never gets any easier when someone says, "Tell us about yourself." But
Should come second nature.
it should do. It should do. But so my name's Logan Smith. I am one of three founders of an organisation called Unmasked Mental Health. Now, there's two parts to Unmasked Mental Health, but I'm here today to talk about the charity side of Unmasked Mental Health. And we founded this organisation in it's nearly our 2-year anniversary. So we founded it in February 2019, and we came together basically due to our own struggles, our own life struggles. Saw a different side to it and wanted to help support other people. So we just put our minds together, created some things, and here we are today. But one of the main things that we first created were an app. So we started an app called Unmasked Mental Health, and it's a free peer-to-peer support app for anyone that's struggling, and you can talk to just like-minded people, and then over time you get to have the option to unmask yourself, so like reveal your profile picture. But it's more about just building connections and talking to like-minded people, because it's just been like one of the best medications for me. So it's just talking to like-minded people, and I guess that sort of is why I'm a part of Bearded Villains as well. So it's one of the reasons why I first ever joined. That first ever time I came in 2015 to a meet in Liverpool, my first one, and the reason why I came is because of the camaraderie, that like-minded people, that people that want to talk and want to open up and share stories, and it supported me, and I imagine it supported you through difficult times. So that's pretty much,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I can remember that first meet in Liverpool very well. So I was lucky enough to be there.
Yeah, it came up on my time up yesterday, mate. It came up on my time, like your memories. It
Yeah, yeah,
came up on my Instagram memories and my Facebook memories. There was a picture of like, just to pick a few out, and you know exactly which picture I mean,
yeah,
where we're all
yeah,
sitting
yeah.
around, me, you, and Papa, and yeah, all the
It,
lads. So
yeah, it was good times. Absolutely good times. I think it was a real eye opener for that. I mean, for myself, I think I pretty much joined it for the same reasons you did. It was to get out there, meet like-minded people, spread my wings a bit more,
yeah, yeah,
and have that little bit of a sport network around you. So
certainly, yeah. I mean, when I originally sent my first ever message to someone from BV about joining, in my mind, it was exactly that. It was that brotherhood sort of thing coming together, having that same love for the thing, like taking pictures and also meeting and having a good time and stuff like that. So that's why I wanted to join. During I mean, that time when I did join, I was going through quite a lonely patch in my life, and I'd come back from Australia a couple of years prior. Even though I had like best friends around me, I still felt quite lonely, and I just needed something to. It was a bit like a purpose. I wanted a purpose, and I found that purpose in Bearded Villains, and with you and all the other lads and stuff like that, and having that support network, and it supported me throughout my whole life. Well, for the last 5 years, I've been a part of it, and I know I've been a bit distant for the past 2 years, but it's been more about having my business now and the charity to focus on. So I've found another purpose, but that purpose is still there for BV. So,
well, that's it. I think. I mean, for me, when I joined, it was giving myself another outlet, another thing to focus my mind on. I'm a bit all over the place. I mean, people that know us. If I'm not going 500 mile an hour, I'm not happy. Like I can't slow down. I feel like when I slow down, I'm going to stop completely. So this time at the minute is not been a great time for me because I've been forced to slow down a bit, and it's been a time of adjustment, and I'm still adjusting, but I'm slowly getting there.
I guess when you slow down, you have the opportunity to like ruminate, don't you? You have that opportunity to think too much, and when we're talking about poor mental health and stuff like that, we quite often do say that we do need time to ourselves, like that sort of relaxing time. But I guess we limit ourselves, don't we, to like maybe that 1 hour in the bath or that 1 hour just doing what we need to do, and that's enough time to relax, but not enough time to ruminate and think about the negative thoughts. So.
Yeah, I mean, in them times, I'm writing lists. I'm terrible. As I say, switching off is not one of my fortes in life. But it's been forced upon us, and now I'm slowing down and I'm getting fatter while I do it.
It's cuddle, extra cuddles, isn't it? Extra cuddles.
Still hedge.
Cuddle. Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of the charity and mental health, and when you're giving your first mental health first aid training, what kind of are the signs that you would say to people to look for in terms of assessing if people are struggling or such as?
Yeah, I mean, So a very recent story springs to mind of somebody within a workplace who sadly did take their own life, and it springs to mind because of that sort of signs and symptoms thing. It can be a very difficult thing to spot, and a difficult thing to. Sometimes it's not just in plain sight, and hence the reason why we're called Unmasked. You know what I mean? We do wear that mask on our face majority of our life. Especially in the workplace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So spotting signs can be quite difficult, but it could be anything. It could be noticing that your colleague or your friend has started drinking a bit more. It could be something like that. You notice, and we're in a culture, mate. Especially the British culture, the English culture, and I know we might have some people on here that are not from the UK, but we've got a very strong drinking culture. So when you see your mate having a beer every single night, or 2 beers, 3 beers, and posting stories about it, posting things like that, that can be a sign of going through a tough time. And we just look at it and think, oh, what a bloke, what a lad, he's just having is he getting pissed up tonight? But when you start to see that sort of every single night, or it cropping up on the stories a bit more often than what it used to be, there's other things that it could be, like in the workplace. I'm still in the workplace. I'm still at work, as in going into the office physically.
Yeah.
And, I know there's many people that are still going into the offices and warehouses or wherever it may be that you work. And it might be that you usually sit down and have a brew together every morning, or whatever it may be, and you might just notice that John or Jill's not coming into brew ring and not sitting down with everyone. So there's just little signs like that, but I think it's really important, especially right now, is to just connect with people. And I think,
Yeah,
like,
I, I think for myself, I think when I think about mental health issues and all that, I think for me the hardest part of it is that initial spotting that there's an issue and spotting that there's maybe something wrong with them and how to approach it because I mean some people like to be approached, some people don't like to be approached.
yeah,
Um, some people like a cuddle, some people don't like to be touched. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
so it's definitely a hard one to broach, but it's making sure you recognise that there's an issue there and just keeping them in close sight and let them know that you're at hand if you need it, if they need anything.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I think that's one of the biggest things is just letting that person know that you're there to support them, or it might be that you've recognised that that person's having a difficult time, and just even not saying come down and sit down and talk to me. It might be just saying, look, mate, I recognise that you're not having a great time right now, but I'm
Yeah,
here for you when you need me. And people really take that on board, and it helps a lot. Um, but it's a tough one to just spot because it's. I think someone's put in a comment there. Everyone fights battles differently, and it's
yeah,
very true.
definitely.
Like it's completely different to everybody else, and I think it's really important to realise that everybody's problem is just as big as everybody's problem. It
Yeah,
might be this morning that my problem might not have been that I got my coffee on my routine time. It might have been that I missed my bus this morning, or whatever it may be. But that's my problem, and that's massive to me. So,
yeah,
and it's important I recognise that, and other people recognise that.
yeah. I think uh, from the age of about 16 till probably my early 20s, I suffered uh, with I'm not going to say depression, but I had a lot of highs and a lot of lows, and when I was low, I slumped a lot.
Yeah,
Uh, when I was in one of those slumps, uh, my outlet was just to go out, like paint on a smile, get drunk, and
yeah.
go wild, and it never it, it never works. I mean, you're never in a great place afterwards, but for those split seconds of while you're out, you can almost believe yourself that you're having a good time, and I think
Yeah,
that's what you live off in them situations when you're feeling like that.
100%. And that sort of goes back to that spotting that sign, doesn't it? Recognizing that you were just all of a sudden going out and just getting leathered. You know what I mean? Because we do turn to alcohol quite often just to
Yeah,
mask the pain or whatever it may be. And like you said, you sort of get that sense of, nah, I'm all right. I'm smiling. I'm having a good time. But it's not you having a good time. It's that alcohol having a good time in it. So
yeah,
I saw a comment coming in about advice. I think it was. It was, what is the most important piece of advice you might have for someone who is suffering with their issues or with these issues? And personally, my biggest bit of advice would be to talk. Um, I would we I guess a lot of the times in within mental health organisations we signpost to GPs, and we still do signpost to GPs. But one thing that I've noticed with your GP is that it's sort of like a 50-50. You don't know if one day you might get a GP that is an absolute diamond and is an absolute star and really wants to help, and they think of different avenues to go down and signpost you to this place and to this place. And then sometimes you get GPs that just don't understand, and it's quite strange that in 2021 now some GPs don't understand about mental health or poor mental health. So GPs is a bit of a tough one right now to say. I get comments daily about saying I've been to my GP and they've just said I can't do anything about it, or here's some medication, take that straight away. And but I think for me, and I'm talking for Doug and for Robin, our other founders, and for many of our volunteers and trustees, talking has been the best medication for us. And it's probably the hardest step to take. It's like walking through that GP door to say, I am not feeling that good mentally. It's a really difficult thing to do, but actually being honest and reaching out, not just saying I'm having a tough time, maybe saying that, but maybe just saying I'm having a tough time because of this. Once you start opening up, it's sort of like, for me, it's sort of like a sink. If you imagine that if you leave a tap on and the sink, that's sort of like our life. It's just filling up the sink. That constant flow of water is our life. And if we add things to that sink, it's gonna start filling up faster. It's gonna start to overflow. And what we need to do is take some stuff out of that sink. We need to wash them things, and that's what I sort of look at talking, like, you know, peer support groups and stuff. There are like times of washing them plates, sort of things. Them plates going in the sink are these bad thoughts in our mind or whatever it may be. But we just need to take them out. So if we can talk about them, get them off our chest and get them out, then we can sort of reduce that level in the water and we don't overflow and have that big breakdown or that meltdown. So
yeah,
I'd say probably peer support groups is my biggest one. And I think in BV is like your biggest support group. It's, you know, we have our own peer support groups, men and women, 16 plus. They're dotted around the country, and they're really, really good. They're every Thursday night at 7. So there's groups happening right now as I'm speaking. They're all
so
meeting and stuff like that.
Whereabouts are your groups based at? I know you've got one at Selby Bridge, and
yeah, so we've got one in Sorby Bridge. You say Sowerby, I say Sorby,
yeah.
but it's one of them. We've got one in Sowerby Bridge.
Selby Bridge.
We've got them as far up as Glasgow. So we've got one in Glasgow, a couple dotted around in Glasgow, because it's quite a large area. And then we've got like Sorby Bridge, we've got Bradford, we've got Leeds, we've got them all over. It's just our biggest problem right now is not that we can't actually have the group, it's the venues that our groups are located in. So we had a big partnership with Tesco's. So our partnership with Tesco's is that we use their community rooms for this, for our groups. But Tesco's have put a big halt to it. They're not letting anybody from the outside into Tesco's unless you're just doing your shopping. So that's been our biggest obstacle. So we're slowly opening these groups back up again. It's
so if one of the people listening was wanting to get to one of your peer groups and they didn't have anything in their area, what would be your advice to them?
To come? What would be their advice to come? Well, to be honest, there's no sign up fees. There's no fee or anything like that. It's not like you don't have to like pay £1 to get in a row, and there's no registration. You don't have to message the page or do anything like that to say that you're coming. It's literally turning up, and walking through that door. I mean, that is the toughest part. But what we do in our groups is we have a facilitator that runs the group, and we also have a co-facilitator. These two people work hand in hand, but one of them also waits outside for anybody that's coming. So just to give that sort of that warm welcome and that hello, treat them as they're coming in, you know, get them a brew ready and stuff like that. So like I said, it's probably one of the hardest things to do is to walk into one of our doors. But once you're in there, you're in there. And I guess to remember that you don't always have to talk in these groups. I know that we're all about talking, like opening up, but you need to be ready to talk as well. So when you sit down in groups, I'm back. When you sit down in one of our groups, you're not pressed to talk. Do you know what I mean? Am I still here?
No, you're still here.
Yeah, I went blank then.
No, but I'm going to say, you know, the people that come need to be ready to move at their own pace and know that they won't be hurried along. And
yeah, it's one of them. Again, it goes back to like medication as well. Like, you know, one of them things is you get given medication by a GP or a doctor or it may be. and I think we have that thing that we want it to get it fixed straight away, and
Yeah.
that's just human nature. We want it to be fixed as soon as possible. But the thing is with mental health compared to physical health is we never really get any timelines. So if you break your arm and you get it put in a cast, you get given a timeline. You're going to be in that cast for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever it may be. So you have that already in your head. When you get given medication or you start that process of talking in peer groups, there's not really a time scale. It might happen in 2 weeks. It might happen in 2 months. It might happen in a year. But I think just one of the biggest messages is just to stick in there, stick with it, especially with the groups, especially even if you're taking that medication, stick with it, and things will start to change.
Yeah, definitely. I think we're in a world where everything is instant now. You know, you look at your phone, it's instant. You can send a message around the world, it's instant. So I think that is a real key factor, is that something like mental health is not going to be instant. It's going to be something that's going to be worked on, not all probably over years, but over a lifetime. You're going to always have to keep it in check.
Yeah, and definitely. And I guess the word mental health, it's still a really scary word, really. You know, although it's in our name, Unmasked Mental Health, it's still quite a scary word to many people. But the thing is with mental health is we all have mental health. You have mental health. I have mental health. We all have mental health. It just sometimes means that we have good mental health and we have poor mental health, and they fluctuate. Do you know what I mean? It could be having a poor mental health day, but I think we use that word mental health and it can be still quite scary because we always think it's that bad thing.
Yeah.
And when we say physical health, you always think of just being really super fit and healthy, jacked up or shredded or whatever it may be. But physical health, we all have physical health too. Do you know what I mean? We all have that. So, but this is probably the most I've ever spoken about medication, to be quite honest, and I've not spoken about it much at all. One of our policies or one of our rules, unwritten rules within Unmasked, is that we don't talk about religion, purely because everyone's different. And we don't talk about religion, we don't talk about politics, and we don't talk about medication. All three of them things is just different for everybody. So
yeah, you're never going to get to a sensible outcome when you talk about them things. So
no,
is it the better left alone?
Definitely. It's just it came to my mind because I've just seen a comment just about medication and just that they mask the problem. And
so I
stuff.
saw one question. What advice would you give if there are no groups in your area?
So advice that I'd give if there's no groups is to look to your closest friend. So your closest friend, I did a post yesterday on our page. I did it on my personal page as well, Logan Bonham Smith, about cornerstones, about friendships and cornerstones, and about building and like close friends are our cornerstones of our life, and about investing time in them. So I know I have a handful of friends that are really my cornerstones in life. I have another massive group of friends that I know that I can go out and get pissed up, or I can do all that sort of shit. But I know I've got a small group of friends that I could go to and say, look, I am not feeling good today, not physically, mentally, and I'm struggling and I just need a bit of support, or I just need an ear to talk to. So that's probably, if there's not somebody in your local area to do something like that, is to reach out to one of your closest friends and be honest, be really honest with them, because we hold it back a lot. And I can, if myself and you, Carl, we knew each other maybe at a different point in our lives, and it was just more of a mutual friendship instead of it being an actual friendship.
Yeah.
And we passed each other in the street and I said, "You're right, mate." You just nod your head and you carry on. And that's sort of like what the culture we live in every single day. We just nod his head and carry on. And we just say, "Yeah, mate, are you?" And you say, "Yeah." But we need to start being honest, and with them close friends, that's okay. We can say, "Look, no, I'm not okay, actually." So yeah, reaching out to his closest friends, or it could be something like contacting our page as well. We're very on point with our replies and stuff like that. And if someone needs to talk, I'm not going to ignore a message or just delete a message. I've been in them difficult times, and I know what it's like when someone doesn't reply to that message. So we've vowed as sort of lives to it. And, you know, sometimes I'm up at 2 a.m. messaging, 3 a.m. messaging back. And the reason why I do that is because my time is valuable, but as in, like, I know I need to get to sleep and stuff like that, but I would rather stay awake than see somebody permanently asleep, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I would 100% rather stay awake than see that happen. So, yeah, reach out to friends, reach out to our page. If you're in BV, reach out to them groups that are out there, you know, on the apps like Line and stuff like that. Or just or your closest brothers. If there's no groups, we've got the app as well. You could download the app. There's loads of different options that you can do. There's we're for women and men. So for us, it's a bit different. But there's men's groups out there and there's women's groups out there and stuff like that. I mean, locally to us, there's a massive one called the Women's Centre, or there's the Women Wellbeing Club, which are now across the country as well. So it could be the women that look at, if you wanted to just talk to women, you can go to the Women's Wellbeing Club, or there's like Andy's Man Club. I know a lot of people have heard, especially in the chat. I've seen a few people crop up that I know, and I know they know about Andy's Man Club. So it's another big organisation like ourselves, but we're all in it together to make an easier place to live. And I know that people often find it sort of being like a burden to open up to people. You know, like, oh, I don't want to talk to that person because I don't want to put my problems onto them. We're in this for life. Me and Doug, and, you know, the people that have started these other groups, we've vowed to do this for our lives because we want to help people. So nothing's ever a burden to us. This is what we do for a job. This is what we do to, you know, every single day. So it's never a burden for us. And if you want to just message the page or reach out on a comment or whatever it may be, that's what advice I'd give. That was a bit long-winded, but I got a bit passionate about it.
Hey, I love to see it, mate. I love to see it. So there's a few more questions coming while you've been on your crusade.
My questions have stopped, as in my comment section.
Right.
They're not moving around for me, so I aren't seeing these. So you're gonna have to read them out, and I'll just.
So Matt has asked, what advice would you give for people who live alone and are generally socially distant?
So we hear a lot about social media being quite a bad place, and there is some negative sides to social media, and there's also some massive positive sides to social media. So there's plenty of groups out there, like Facebook groups that you can join, and it's a private group, so no, you know, your next door neighbour's not going to know that you're in there, and reaching out to them sort of private groups helps massively. They're a really big positive side of social media. And I guess with social media, it all works on algorithms and all this. Like, you know, once you start liking someone's post, you're going to see their posts a lot more. If you go onto my personal Facebook, all you see is mental health support groups, because I'm a part of them all, you know. And once you start hanging around or being around or seeing them sort of positive posts and things like that, they show up a lot more on your feed. So
yeah,
if you're a socially isolated person, you're not really comfortable going out, it's a really good place to be, to put yourself in. Start liking some of these groups, start liking some of these positive posts, and before you know it, 2 days, 3 days later, the algorithms kicked in, and that's all you can see. All these positive posts, these positive groups, things like that. And then I guess with it being sort of like the age of technology, video gaming is a big one that I've seen a good impact. I've seen negative impacts of it as well, but I've seen positive impacts in it. You know, having that community sort of thing on games where you know, like Call of Duty or whatever it may be, you probably end up playing with the same players all the time, but it's because you create like this little bond and stuff like that. And if you're not really comfortable going out, having them people on the other end of a microphone or you know, other end of a keypad or whatever it may be is a big one.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of that, I mean, I do a lot of gaming myself, and I've got quite a good group of lads that I game quite a lot with. So it's for me that's a way that I generally deal with when I when I'm on that downward spiral. I'll just put the headphones on and
Yeah.
submerge myself into that kind of world, and that always generally works for me.
I think
So,
with the games and stuff like that, like these people that you play with, they might not be them people that you'd open up to while you're playing, whether it's CS:GO or whatever it is. You know what I mean? They might not be them types of people, but in the background you've got your Facebook, you've got your app there just to message the people that you would open up to.
yeah,
But like you said, you immerse yourself in the game. It puts them blankers on. Do you know what I mean? You can focus on something. You're looking at something. You got something to do. You need to control these buttons. You need to do this. You need to do that, and it takes your mind away from negative thoughts.
yeah,
So they are a good tool, and I think it sort of comes down to moderation as well. In life's moderation in it. You don't just
yeah,
smash
definitely.
a full bar of Galaxy. Well,
Well,
some
I
people
do,
do.
mate.
So maybe we won't use that as an example, but maybe you don't have 3 Sunday roasts. You know what I mean? You don't get 3 plates at Toby Carvery's. It's about moderation, and it's the same with stuff like that. It's about moderation. I think you can quite easily get lost in the gaming sort of thing,
Yeah,
and really get in a deep hole about it, and because you don't come off it and stuff like that. But
yeah,
moderation again. So yeah, these are good places. They are good places though for people that are more socially isolated and stuff like that.
yeah, definitely. So this is more of. I think this is a trickier question.
Go
But
on then.
how can you change your mindset when you feel like a burden?
So when you feel like a burden, right?
Yeah,
So changing mindset is probably, I'd probably say, I mean, it's there on Google and stuff like that to look at. But the 5 ways to well-being is really good. So by following these 5 ways to well-being, so it's to connect, give, take note, be active, and keep learning.
yeah,
So all these 5 things stimulate the brain positively. It's been researched about these 5 ways about stimulating the brain and having a really positive impact on our mindset. So the 5 ways to well-being is a really good one to research on that. And another really good way to start having a positive mindset is to actually start journaling. It's something that we don't always do, or we don't write things down, or don't follow things, but there's some really good journals out there, or some sort of goal setting books. I think once we start to have a goal to work towards, it gives us a really good positive mindset. Them goals might be really small goals. You might just have 5 goals on there to work to. But once you've ticked all 5 boxes, that sort of sense of achievement overwhelms that sense of negativity. So, yeah.
I suppose it has to be realistic goals as well. I mean, because if you're setting yourself unrealistic goals, all you're going to do is frustrate yourself and get yourself a
Well,
bit down when you're not hitting them.
100%. These goals can be something really simple, like making your bed. Do you know what I mean? We get up. Like I was in work this morning at 6:30 because I had some networking to do at 7 o'clock. But
Yeah,
I got out of bed at whatever it was, like probably about 29 minutes past 6. And the first thing I do is make my bed, because it's an achievement. It's that sort of goal setting. And when I come back home tonight, or when I've come back home tonight, my bed's still made. It's nice and crisp, and it's ready to get in and snuggle up. And it's a sense of achievement. So they can be really small goals, but as long as we achieve these goals, it creates that good sort of mindset. And these goals can get bigger and bigger and bigger. But I think we often try to achieve massive things, like you said. Like it could be, oh, I'm going to go into work today and smash out the most sales I've ever done before in my life, and I'm going to earn this company 50 grand. It's probably a bit big of an achievable goal, really.
yeah.
It could be, I'm going to go into work and just do my best. That is a good goal to set. And if you come home and tick that box, I've done my best today at work, it's starting that positive mindset.
But my thing is, every morning I'm terrible when it comes to breakfast, and I say to myself every morning, that's the first thing that I need to do.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it, I feel like I've let myself down. I mean, I should eat a better breakfast, hence the size I am at the minute. But it's still sets us up on the right mindset, and I'll
Yeah.
off to work and going.
Yeah.
That puts me on the right path.
I think structure is really important in our lives. So having that structure, having breakfast in the morning, it becomes a routine, a structure. Um, getting the same bus every single day becomes a routine, a structure, or setting off to work at the same time and driving to work at the same time becomes routine and structure. And I think it's important that we identify them as well, and not just push them to one side and just be like, oh, I just set off to work at 7:30 every day. Yeah, you do, but it's routine, and focus on that routine and apply what you're doing there into something else and make that just another thing, like the gym or whatever it might be the gym. And before you know it's going to be, I always train at 7:00. You know what I mean? It's going to be one of them things that just becomes, I always do that at that time. Yeah, it's becomes structure. We start to structure our life and have that routine, and gives us a focus.
Definitely does. It definitely does. Obviously, at the minute, structure is very important. I think at the minute with everything that's going on, I mean, we're confined, so it's making sure we hit certain tasks through the day. I know with myself working from home at the minute, I get up, I have breakfast, I log on. But the first thing I do when I log on is email everyone all my colleagues. I'll email them, good morning, how's it going? And then that sets us right. Afternoon, have a brew, have a lunch, order the stuff that I need to order, run a report, and then I'm done. And it's working through them goals that I need.
Yeah.
Simple.
It's definitely important to set them, yeah.
But I mean, everything is easier said than done when you're in a mind space that's not very good.
It is easier said than done, and that's why we go back to the sort of like the start of this little question. Well, this question about setting small goals, because it is tough to set regular. Maybe I'll call them regular goals.
Yeah.
Like what you're talking about, it is difficult to get into that routine. But if we start achieving them small goals and make them a routine, and then we can move up, and it's like that stepping stone, in it. That's what we need to do, instead of taking massive strides and hurting ourselves. Take small steps, and before you know it, we're a mile down the road instead of injured back there because we try to do too much at once.
Do you find that we do set ourselves really unrealistic targets, though?
Quite often, yeah.
Just generally speaking.
Yeah, I do. I think. Well, what I want to say is, this isn't really to do with mental health, I guess. But when I wanted to quit smoking, I always told people I wanted to quit smoking. And, I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to quit smoking. I told everybody I was going to quit smoking, and I never quit smoking. But when I kept it to myself and I believed in myself and I wanted to do it, I achieved it and I stopped smoking. I've not smoked a cigarette for 3.5 years now, 4 years.
Is that because it's added pressure because you've told everyone else?
Yeah. So when we do that about like other things, we might be in a difficult situation, a difficult time, and we go I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to get right. I'm going to smash it. I'm going to smash it. I'm going to make myself massive. I'm going to make myself super slim and ripped and all this. It sort of gives that big goal that we need to take it. We need to take it back a step and just get into the gym, instead of I'm going to go to the gym and smash it and I'm going to be massive. It's But I think in his work life as well, we set unrealistic goals sometimes, and I think what we do is a lot in his work as well is overwork ourselves. So we're definitely a culture of drinking, like I said earlier, but a culture of saying yes, and we're always yes people. So when your boss or somebody above you comes to you and says, "Can you do this now?" or "Can you just send an email to this person straight away?" we just say yes, and it just adds piles on piles on piles, instead of saying, "I'm actually just sending this email now, I'll be able to do it in 5 minutes." We don't do that because we're scared. We're worried about losing his job, but we're not going to lose his job. We're just in that mindset of, yes, I'll do it. Yes, I'll do it. I'll commit to everything in my life. So,
yeah, definitely. I know, especially in my work environment, it's quite it's quite full on in periods.
Yeah,
So I don't necessarily feel like I can move away from my desk when I'm actually working from the office. So a lot of the time, I'll find that I'm sat for 12 hours in front of a computer, and before you know it, that 12 hours is up and you've not moved.
yeah,
It's like you've got to remind yourself and force yourself into getting up, moving out, and separating at least for an hour or half an hour or 45 minutes, whatever your breaks are, separating
definitely.
yourself from your workspace to just like your individual space.
Definitely, definitely. It gives us a clearer mind as well, you know, separating ourselves from that sort of.
Yeah,
It could be when you're writing that email, you're just a bit flustered or whatever it is, getting up and just taking 2 minutes out, walking to the coffee machine or whatever it may be, just stepping away from your computer, coming back with a clearer mind.
yeah, definitely. We were talking about gyms earlier.
Yeah.
So I think this is a good question. Any advice for those whose regular coping mechanisms have been forced to close during the pandemic? So with people who like going to the gym and that's their outlet, a lot of the gyms are now closed. So how do they refocus into another area?
Yeah. So, you know, I'd probably traditionally just say, why don't you try working out at home, or why don't you go for a walk? I find
Yeah,
walking boring, me, so I'm not
I
going to go
hate
for
it.
a walk. I'm not going to train at home either because it's boring, right? But what I do try and do is find a new hobby, something that you just don't do. You know what I mean? Like, it could be something super random. Get into like gardening or something like that. You know, and it sounds daft, but you work up a sweat. You work up a sweat when you're gardening, mate. But doing something like that, it helps, and it goes back to that 5 ways to well-being, I guess. Being active, and I think when we say the word active, we instantly think of being super fit. Like, active is being, yeah, super fit. Active can be going out for that walk. It can be having a dance or something like that. Incorporating a dance in while you're washing dishes or whatever it may be. Doing a bit of cooking, and cooking was my focus. I tore my ACL in my right leg, and I was off work at the time. I was a gym instructor. I was heavy into the gym, proper, loving it, and I tore my ACL. Had 6 months off work in a leg brace. Weren't allowed to go back. I worked for the council, so they were very strict on me returning to work. They wouldn't allow me to return to work on like light duties or anything like that. It was, no, you've got 6 months off. You're sitting in your house and doing that. I ended up buying some chef knives, some professional knives, and taught myself how to cook. And it's something that I still practice today. I love cooking. It gets me in it proper focuses me on it. You know, I've got to think about timings. I've got to think about not chopping my finger off, and I've got to think about feeding my family. And that sense of like that overwhelming sense comes when I finally brought the dish out or put it on the table. It feels ace, and it's sort of like the same feeling as when you smash that rep out that you really wanted to get, or that weight that you were really working towards. I find it now a similar sort of feeling to that. I've
Yeah,
provided, or I've, you know, and I cook 5 days a week here. Or at the moment, my mother-in-law is doing a lot of cooking because my brother-in-law's come up from London at the beginning of lockdown. He came up from London and chose to live here for a bit. So my mother-in-law's been doing a bit of cooking, which has been nice to have a bit of a break. But I love cooking, and I'll do it. Oh, I went off
are
again.
you itching to get back in at it?
Yeah, I'm dying to get back in it, mate.
We've got one here. Do you have any tips for overcoming the physical tiredness that comes with depression?
So I presume you mean like not having that will to get up or have a drive to do something. And
Yeah,
yeah, it I've sort of. I guess I'm just gonna. I don't want to repeat what I've already said, but I've probably going to end up repeating a bit similar to what I was going to say, and it's that them short goals, them small goals to get back out and doing something. because when we're in that slump and that not wanting to do anything at all, or not get up, or your goals like having a shower, brushing your hair, or for you, Carl, brushing your beard. I'm not at that stage anymore of owning a beard brush, but
Yeah, I've never seen anyone look so bad when they shave the beard off. But anyways, that's a different story. Get back to the question.
yeah. So it's them sort of achievable goals: making your bed, washing your hair, brushing your hair, or whatever it may be. The little steps, because again, it comes back to mastering them little steps and them just becoming a regular routine again before we can start setting them other goals, instead of it as being like, I'm in this slump, I'm really struggling, I'm going to go out and run a marathon. It's not going to happen. It's going to be, I'm going to just at least put my gym kit on today. Even if I don't go out and do the run, I've made that first step. I've got my gym kit on.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And making them little goals like that, mate. I would say that is one way to get sort of that energy back, and having a regular sleeping pattern. It's tough to do, man. But
so how what advice would it be if that is one of your pitfalls, is that you don't sleep, you struggle with that area?
Yeah,
I know that's one of my areas. I know when I'm really down, my sleep pattern goes all over the place. I'll be up till 3:30 in the morning and I'm wide awake, and I've got work at 5:30.
Yeah, it's something that a lot of us do, I guess, in it now, staying awake, and it's probably because of this thing that we sat in front right now as phone. So one thing that I've done very recently is actually on. I know you can do it on an iPhone. I don't know if you can do it on Android or like that, but I can put a sleeper on, a sleep mode. So what it does is it turns the brightness down automatically. I no longer receive notifications and stuff like that. Helps me.
Yeah.
But podcasts have been a massive thing in my life, mate. Listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
Getting them on and not having a visual. I do listen to them on YouTube. I listen to them on Spotify. And I know I could probably sit and listen to them and watch them on YouTube, but I close my phone case and put it under my pillow and just keep my headphones in. But that helps me sleep. And I'll be honest, I listen to some proper boring stuff, but it's interesting to me. I listen to a lot of history, and there's a bloke called Graham Hancock. He's a geologist, and I just immerse myself in something like that. Try educate myself as well as sleeping. But yeah, sleeping's a tough one. But if we set a goal, that goal again of having I'm gonna have a bath at 8 or whatever it may be, a shower at 8. I'm gonna go on my phone for an hour until 9:30, and then I'm going to turn my phone off and I'm going to put it on the side. And if we turn it off, it's going to, yeah, we can turn it back on, but it takes 5 minutes to turn on an iPhone. They take piss. So I don't want to turn it back on because it takes too long. So yeah, turning his phone off can be a big one to just start with to get a sleeping pattern back. Reading is, to me, reading's super boring, so it sends me to sleep. But I make myself read because I find it boring. But yeah, and I guess I won't be, again, in medication. I don't normally talk about it, but I won't be afraid to take. We have like a herbal sleeping tablet here, not something like super powerful or all like that, but just something like that to try just get you back in a routine, because it's that one thing. You did that one thing, like stay up and watch Super Bowl or something like that, because that's coming round soon, and you're up until 4 a.m, and you've got work at 5, so you just power on through and smash a couple of Red Bulls and get 10 coffees in you, and you're raring to go. But then that energy, yeah, you have a lull moment, but then that energy comes back when it's time to rest, as body's like relaxed, but that energy's still buzzing round.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just it's that one moment that's put us in that cycle. So we need that one moment to take us out of that cycle. So it could be just having that sleeping tablet that once, and just getting in that cycle of, right, I'm asleep at 8 o'clock. I'm going to wake up at 5, and you're back in the thing, because then later down the line, up at 5, and then that night you're probably going to be just as tired again.
So we haven't got long left. We've actually only got about 10 minutes left. But there's one question that's come in. What's your take on the CBD?
What do I take on it?
Yeah, what's your take on it?
Oh, massive advocate of it, mate.
Yeah.
Massive advocate. Our page has got a discount code for CBD. That's how much I go for it.
So how are you taking it? Are you drops in your coffee or what?
I have a few different things that we have. So we have droppers. So I just do it under my tongue.
Yeah.
So the reason why we took CBD, sorry.
Well.
The reason why I take CBD is I tried it in a vape, and it really it were good.
Yeah.
But what I found is that it had a sort of instant impact, if you know what I mean. And so what I do is when I do public speaking, so if I'm speaking in front of a number of people or whatever it is, I usually have it in my vape, because it gives me that sort of instant calmness.
Yeah.
But I don't do that all the time. It's something that's just every now and again when I'm talking. And but I have the droppers for under my tongue, and then I also have this sort of like injection paste that I put in my coffee.
Yeah.
And we also, in the office, we have like it's called Hatcher. It's like a play on, I guess it's a play on like hemp and matcha. It's like a green tea.
Yeah.
But yeah, massive advocate of CBD. And the reason for that is me doing the vape, for one, starting that. But my wife has got my wife's got postnatal depression, or she's been diagnosed with postnatal depression. And we found that the CBD massive. I saw a massive change in Charlotte in like within that same week of doing it.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was like, oh my God, this is crazy. I need to get more into this. So that's why I've become like a big advocate, because I saw it affect somebody else in a really positive way, not in and probably like one of the most questions I get when I do talk about CBD is, does it get you stoned? Are you super stoned on it? Like, there's nothing to do with being stoned on it. It's more of a, right, I can breathe sort of thing. You get that sort of that sense of I don't know, the chips off your shoulder or whatever, or you get that big deep breath, or that moment when you paid off your bit of debt that you owed and you're fucking, oh my God, it's done. It's like that. So yeah, a massive advocate of CBD. We use CBD One UK.
Right.
That's our brand that we use at the Unmasked office and at home. But yeah, there's a discount on my page for that if anyone's interested.
I'll be hitting that up.
Yeah, man, good lads over there. Set of brothers that started it, and they've just got bigger and bigger. But yeah, Alex from CBD One UK, they hooked us up in the office and sent loads of stuff over to try out and all this, and it was good stuff.
That's what we like to hear. Right, well, we're getting to that time where we're going to be kicked off, and I don't want to end it with just getting kicked off. Firstly, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to come and speak about some of the issues that is going on at the minute.
Definitely.
To everyone that's watched, if you're not following Unmasked Mental Health, make sure you go to the Instagram page, the Facebook page. You're on Twitter?
We are on Twitter, yeah. We're on TikTok
Twitter as well.
Smashing it on TikTok, mate.
Yeah.
Love it. But
make sure you go and give them a follow. Download the app. Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I've known you for a long time now. We've travelled across Europe together, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm lucky enough that I've got a good support network in the friends and family and whatnot. But I know not everyone does have that, so it's making sure that we reach out. We're opening up our hand to help people, and
yeah.
and I love what you're doing over there. I mean, I know Doug as well, and Doug's a great guy. So yeah, I hope we could do this again in the future because I think it's been really good.
I'd be more than happy to do it, mate. You could ask me to do it next week, and I'd do it. I think we just sort of scraped the surface, really. I know in the post and the lads that have been posting and promoting this had talked about stigma and stuff like that, and I think that's another subject in itself about stigma.
100%.
I guess just before we finish, just to sort of touch on it, is that the stigma is still present, but stigma is it's a difficult thing to sort of really explain, but we can unmask the stigma, and by just talking about things like this and doing lives like this and getting lads on. And I guess one thing to take away that I guess majority of the people watching are from BV or being associated with BV is that I'm just another brother, me. I'm just another brother just like you. And I can talk about it, and if I can give somebody the confidence to talk about it, or if they want to know my story a bit more in depth, and just message me and say what's happened, how did you get on this path of Unmasked, I'll be more than happy to tell you, or be more than happy to just message. If you want to reach out to me, you know who I am, and I mean, I'm just another brother that's just there to support you, man. And it's nice to see BV sort of taking this curve. I know there's a lot of lads in BV that are really pushing mental health awareness, and I mean, you being one of them, supporting us and stuff like that. And so it's nice to see that culture of supporting one another in mentally is coming into BV. And I'm just putting myself out there. I'm here for you whenever you need me, and I'm sure Carl is as well.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's something for us all to do, is to take this big platform that we've got and make sure we're doing something worthwhile with. I mean, we all like taking a picture and having a laugh and having a few beers, but the question is, can we be bigger than that? Can we do something bigger? That can we help businesses and charities and companies like yourself that are doing such great work get bigger and reach out to more people? And that's the aim. And I think that's the focus that we should all be on at the minute.
100%.
So yeah, thank you very much, mate. And it's been a pleasure as always.
As I'll sign off how I always sign off on our videos, but I hope everyone stays happy. I hope everyone stays healthy. And together, let's continue to unmask that stigma of mental health. Take care, guys.
Catch you later, man.
No worries. Catch you in a bit. Love you all.